Sunshine M and Jason W. And they're going to tell us about a new level of freedom.
Hey guys, I'm Sunshine. I'm an addict.
Sunshine.
I am an addict that is daily recovering. Our topic is a new level of freedom, and when I hear freedom, my mind goes, it goes many places now, but before it was just like freedom of not being in jail. That was the freedom that I had. But when I came into Narcotics Anonymous, I found a new level. First of all, I had to quit putting dope in, and when I stopped putting dope in, I started feeling better, but I still had me here, and I didn't know a lot of the things that I needed to work on because I didn't have awareness of a lot of things, because I have lived so long in a certain way that I didn't know any different. So first of all, I'm going to read off the definition of freedom, and this is the dictionary. All right, the power to, power to write, to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Another definition is the state of mind of not being imprisoned or enslaved. And when I hear that last one, all I can think about is that I don't have to be a prisoner to my disease today. I do not. I have a program that is teaching me how to work on myself step by step. And when I say step by step, the 12 steps, they are put in for a reason, in order for a reason. And I kind of want to touch on, on the first step is, I had to get honest, and I had to become willing to take suggestions, because I was that bullheaded one who was like, don't tell me what to do, all that. But my perspective had to change to where it was a suggestion. I can leave it or I can take it. And then when I had a choice to pick something, that was a little bit different for me. So, I started taking those suggestions because I knew everybody that was trying to give me these suggestions had my best interest. They loved me, they welcomed me. I didn't come in and get it right off the rip. I picked up several white chips, and it doesn't have to be your story, but it is mine. But as I started a program. For me, I couldn't do it. I could not do it alone. I could not, and I could not do it on the streets. I could not. I had to go into a program, and then I went through everyone in Athens. I just wasn't ready, and I didn't know what that looked like to live a life of Narcotics Anonymous. I did not. It was very foreign to me. The traditions, the spiritual principles, the steps, and all these cliches, it was very foreign to me. That's like the wee version of Serenity Prayer. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? It's like, is it the little version? Because I kept listening, and I was like, well, it's not any shorter, So, I felt really kind of dumb when I figured out what it really meant. But that's the stuff that, that we don't all know when we come into the rooms. It's the simple things. So step one, I had to surrender. I had to figure out what I really wanted to do because I was trying to have my cake and eat it too, and it just wasn't working. So when I finally decided to surrender completely, that itself just lifted a whole weight off of me. Now, what I was going to do then, I didn't know, but I knew that somebody was going to guide me to that. Step two was let God, and for me, that just flipped my table, because when I came in, I had not a very good relationship with a God of my understanding, and the God of my understanding was what I seen growing up. I really was never into the religious kind of thing, because I just wasn't. But once I stayed in the rooms long enough, I figured out that I could have a higher power, and it didn't have to look like yours or yours or yours, and it was my higher power, and it's what worked for me. And step three, okay, now I got to muster up the faith to let it go. And for so long, I heard this, let it go, let God, and I'm like, let what go and let, you know, I didn't understand it. But today I do understand. It's the full meaning of that is I have a higher power that I can put my full faith into, and I have a good connection with. And it took me a little while to find that, but once I found it, I knew what it was, and I was like, yes, you know, I got that part. So let's go to the next step, and that was doing an inventory. And I'd always heard, oh my God, the 4 steps, blah, blah, blah. And so when I got to it, I was like already over analyzing stuff, and you know, but once I went through it twice. The second time was a lot better because I'd had trauma therapy. You know, when I first started the 4-step, I really had a hard time, and I got that outside help, and it really gave me a clearer view. So I'm very grateful for that, because what I didn't realize is everything on my 4-step stuff is already done. You know, it's already been done. You know, let's just see what's on my mind the most, and let's work on that. Because guess what? I get to go through the steps again. So anything I think I've missed, I can catch it next time. And that was kind of scary for me because I realized a lot of stuff. These fingers that I've been pointing for so long, you know, what was my part in it? You know, I never wanted to have a part in it because it was always somebody else's fault. You know, so once I could look at things and see my part, you know, and look at, when I say see my part, look at my wrongs. You know, this relationship over here, or this job, or you know, anything, any kind of relations that I had with anybody, you know, I didn't see where I went wrong. And being able to put it down on a piece of paper and really look at it, and having the open-mindedness enough to say, hey, this, man, I was really messed up right there. That was a really bad move. You know, I can't believe I'd done that. And I looked at it, and I looked back, and you know, I got in that self-loathing, like, damn, I was a shitty person, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't have to be that person today, and I'm not that person. My past does not define me at all. So, you know, step 6, it got me ready for self-change. You know, I had all my stuff out on the paper. I got my character defects out on the paper, and then, you know, what do I do now? What I do then is I'm ready to let go, you know, and be willing enough to have a higher power take this from me. And I'm very bad at wanting to give something and take it back, give something, take it back. I'm practicing on that. I mean, it's a daily practice, but, you know, it feels a lot better when I can just let it go. You know, because when I put that in the universe, it always comes back well. And seeking a higher power for help. It's on 7. You know, like I said, the first time I worked the steps, I will let you know that I got all the way up to these steps right here, and I still didn't have that understanding of that higher power. And I was just, boom, I was just off the charts, confused, and just wasn't connecting. So I had to back all the way up and find that higher power. And then I was able to start working the steps, you know, all the way back up to, you know, 6 and 7. And 8 is by this time I'm ready. I'm willing to pretty much do whatever it takes to cleanse this, because I know once I started working these steps, and I would share a little bit of time, and I'd go through each step, I would feel this lightness. I would feel this, oh, what word am I looking for? Freedom. You know, it was a freedom. And it's like, you know, when you get something that feels good and you want some more of it, you know, that's what keeps me going through my steps, and it's what keeps me going in my recovery. And number 9, in making those amends, man, that's like right where I'm at right now. And I think that's why I'm having so many like anger issues right now, is because I'm sitting on this step, and it's like, okay, now I got to go back and make amends with all these situations. But I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that because I believe and trust in the process, and I believe that will help me a lot. I've seen others do it. You know, I've seen their experience, and I really admire that, and I'm very looking forward to that. That's as far as I've gotten, but I have been in the rooms long enough to know that after that, comes the daily inventory. My wife likes to get in the shower and do the daily inventory of, where I did somebody wrong. Did I put the buggy back at the grocery store? Did I throw a piece of trash out the window? And that's the little stuff that makes the big picture for me is, I just have to practice and keep practicing. For me, I like to get into nature and just kind of let mine go. And sometimes I don't like to do that because then I have to look at what I was today. And but that's okay because I can look at that and own mine and try to make it right. Meditation, my prayer pretty much is meditation. I have my own way of communicating with my HP, and it's great. I love it. And the 12th step, I do this on a daily basis in many, many ways. It's called giving back. Being there for the next one, being there for the newcomer. Because guess what? Somebody was there for me. They are still here for me. They're my predecessors, that they have guided me and they've brought me this far. They have loved me unconditionally, and that to me is very special. So, 3 folks. I'll go ahead and tell you what comes to mind when I say freedom. My best freedom is freedom of choice, because I wake up with a choice every day. I kind of want to ask, a couple volunteers, what's your definition of freedom? What is your meaning of freedom to you? Sherry?
Gosh, I'm Sherry on it. I mean, it definitely is everything that you said. But I think mostly what I would consider freedom is that when I wake up today, I wake up like it's a great day. And I never had that in active addiction.
No.
I never ever had that. And like sometimes it's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Like how did I get here? I heard the main speaker say that tonight. How did I get here? I don't know, but this spiritual journey is everything that it took, even the hard times, the good times, everything that I've done to this point got me to this freedom, and that's what they talk about. The broader the base, the higher the point of freedom in our symbol. And I think I'm really blessed that I have a good base, and I think I'm really created a lot of the freedom that I have because I know people and love people everywhere, and I see heroes every day in here. But I'm really excited, to be here tonight. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing. I asked for a volunteer and I kind of voluntold you, so my bad. So if we have another volunteer that wants to share their definition of freedom, what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm Jason.
Hey, Jason.
And this ain't gonna sound like I'm starting off. Bear with me. It's gonna
You
be.
good?
So when I was young, I grew up in the church, and I don't mean like my family went to church. I mean like both of my parents were preachers. I literally grew up in the church, but I'm a very intellectual person, and so I kind of rejected what was being taught to me, and I saw religion as like a means of trying to control me. So I rebelled against that. I was really adamant that I was going to have my own personal freedom as a young person. And then I got a little bit older, and I got fooled at some point into believing that using was going to help me to establish that kind of freedom. I could do whatever I wanted as long as I used my intellect to skirt around those that were trying to control me. And little did I realize, but I was really just sticking myself in that very prison that I was trying to get out of. And it didn't occur to me until years later, like just before, I lost everything, and I ended up having to enter into recovery, was when I realized that I didn't have the kind of freedom that I had been trying to maintain for my entire life. And in fact, it was exactly the opposite. I had built my own prison around me by basically giving up my free will to what I thought was going to save me. But then of course, I hit a rock bottom, and I found in this program a means to find the freedom from my higher power that my family tried to give to me as a young man, but in a way that worked for me. So, organized religion has never worked for me. It still doesn't. But I have a really strong relationship with my higher power because of the things that this program has taught me. So now I do feel like I have a spiritual journey that I'm on. I have choices in my life that have been offered to me by my higher power through the path this program has given to me. That honestly I wouldn't have had I not made those mistakes as a young man, and I'm forever grateful for that. As one of my fellow addicts often says, I'm a satisfied customer for life. That's all I've got. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to chime in?
My name is Justin. I'm a grateful recovering addict. So when we talk about freedom, you said something about something the chains and the institutionalized. What I think of is like the ego deflation. So I'm an egotistical maniac with an inferiority problem. I'm gonna show you that I can do it, and I will. But what the program has done for my life is that's what holds me down. And in order to get out of self, I have to do egoless stuff or selfless things, selfless acts of kindness, random act of kindness. Be good to the next person. There's that, and then there's the if I'm chained down by being a liar, I have to be honest. Integrity, honesty. These are the things that held me down. And for those, mean-spiritedness, that's something that came up in my fourth step. That I have to be good to other people. Because that's what held me down. That's what kept me into the grips and kept me, not understanding why life was. I was only getting what I ever got because I was only doing what I ever did. And I had to make a change, and for that was actually taking that thorough look at what I was doing and how it was really affecting other people before I got an understanding of what really was holding me back. And for that, it's freeing to have options. The opportunity. I don't have to be here. It's another opportunity for me to do something different, for me to be there for someone else and to be of service. Service is a big part of my life today, and I'm truly forever grateful. It's truly through a higher power that I am here today. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Anybody else want to?
My name's George. I'm an addict.
What up, G?
So, this year's theme is the promise is freedom, and it was like, it's been a long time since I've been on this convention planning committee, and it seemed like every time they had a vote for something, I was always the last asshole to chime in, and I've been through enough group consciences and enough area meetings and enough different service meetings to know that, God's will is going to be done no matter what I think. And, but anyway, that was one of the choices was for the theme was the promise is freedom. And so I'm like sitting there thinking about that and you were going through the steps and what they meant to you and how you applied them in your life, which is really, is really what it's about because, this guy used to be I was in long-term treatment with, he used to say faith without works is dead, and if I ain't putting nothing behind the shit that's coming out of my mouth, it really don't mean nothing. And if you can't see it in my walk, the rest of it's just a bunch of talk. And so when I think about the last time I did a workshop at this convention, I was going through my how and why, and I'm trying to dig out all this fabulous shit, You know, I think I had like 3 years clean, 2.5 years clean, and we were talking about the surrender and the first step, just admitting that, you know, that I'm powerless and that I am an addict. And I use that as an excuse to continue to use for a long time. You know, I'm an addict, can't help it, fucking overlook me, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. And, you know, and then I got to some surrender in step 4 and 5 when, you know, not only did I actually put down on paper my part in all these fucked up relationships, you know, there was some freedom to be able to share that with another man and talk about, you know, those damn behaviors and identifying them in 6 and 7 as you know, character defects and continued shortcomings. And anyway, one of the things I found in that book years ago was we made it all the way to step 11, which is the whole meditation thing, because, you know, I went to church all my life too, and I still struggle with, you know, religious gods. You know, I find my peace in nature. I seem to have my most clear moments when I'm riding down the road about 75 miles an hour and I got Led Zeppelin just blasting through, you know, and I seem to have my best train of thought with all that racket going on when most people, normal people, whatever the fuck normal is, you know, when they need to be quiet, it needs to be calm, and they need to be able to, you know, my relaxing is when everything's going 1,000 miles an hour, at least it seems like it. But the freedom today is not waking up with that gnawing in my gut about what am I going to be willing to do today to get one more. Who am I going to have to lie to? Who am I going to have to steal? You know, what am I going to have to do to continue the bullshit? You know, one of the worst fights I've gotten into with, you know, I'm still very blessed. You know, both my parents are still alive. One of the worst arguments I've gotten into my mother was since I've been clean, 18 and a half years, a couple of years ago, she called me a liar over the phone. And I hollered over the phone. I mean, I just, you know, I ain't got a fucking GD lie today. I ain't got nothing to lie about. And, you know, and I had to call her back and apologize. I thought what I said was righteous. I thought how I delivered it totally sucked, and I was totally out of line in that. But I find my freedom in not worrying about what I told you yesterday, because my shit for the most part is consistent, if that makes any sense. Because, I mean, damn y'all, you know, it's like Tony said tonight, I mean, you know, the biggest lie I tell is the one I tell to myself. You know, oh, it ain't hurting me. You know, oh, I ain't doing nothing wrong. You know, oh, I got this. You know, the freedom to not be damn in fear of whatever happens next. Because I got a lot of not yets here, but I got a lot of, you know, just like he said, I got a lot of best days. Like last night, I was at my stepson's house, and I was holding my 2-month-old granddaughter. And right at that minute, that 1 second in time, that was the best fucking thing ever, you know. So anyway, freedom's groovy, y'all. Thanks.
Thanks, George.
All right, anybody else want to touch on that while I'm wrapping up? All right. You know, talking about being changed, how those change, and I can bust those walls down, let them come down, and I can love and be loved. And I thank y'all all for coming in tonight, and thanks for letting me share. All Our next glorious speaker is Jason.
I'm an addict called Jason. Hey, Jason. Well, it's a good day to be clean, even though it's almost tomorrow.
You made it, baby.
Yeah, we're free to stay up. We got freedom to stay up a little late tonight. And, you know, we're doing it together. I've had plenty of time to think about this, and it seems like the longer I think about it, especially with everybody sharing, you know, y'all covered a lot of what I was going to say. And that's cool. That's cool. Because it means that I'm not too far off the mark, you know. I was thinking about how most of my life coming up, I had great parents. And I'm the littlest, I'm the youngest, so I was mama's pick, and you know, I was always in my sister's shadow and all of those things. And it seemed like the older I got, the more I was trying to figure out who I was. You know, I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be as good as her, and I wanted to be what my daddy wanted me to be, and all of those things, but I really didn't know who I was. And I'll never forget the first time I got the first time I used. I'll never forget it. Man, I thought I was like, I was whole. And it was right? And it was like, well, this makes me feel like this is freedom. I'm not Angie's little brother or little Sparky. I'm not any of those things. I'm fucking Jason. And man, it just seemed like let me try that. Or let me try this. And like when I found there was a couple of drugs I did that didn't make me feel complete, but they sure enough got a hold of me. Maybe somebody can relate to doing one of something that you really didn't want to do another one of, but that motherfucker called you to do another one anyway. Maybe you did some things you really didn't mean to do or want to do to get some. I can remember freedom from that. My daddy, who is bigger than me, at this time, I'd stolen all of my mother's vacation fund, as well as several $100s out of my daddy's billfold. He didn't keep money in a wallet; he kept it in his pocket. And he had set it on the dresser at night. I figured, you know, you got that many hundreds, you won't miss one. Slide that out. About 300s later, time to do another draw. He counts what he has, and he goes, hey, something ain't right. You know, this don't match. And anyway, the questions obviously went to my older sister. She was a teenager. I was not. That's when we found out that Jason was in hard drugs. And I detoxed the way the family doctor told you to. Well, you lock him in his fucking room and you don't let him out. That's how you came off of dope when I was a kid. So I detoxed I was a preteen. I was older than 10, and I got free again. I mean, I wasn't chasing the monkey. I didn't know, but I knew what it felt like. I did. Later on, in my 4th and 5th step, I told of how I army crawled through my granny's house on my belly twice in one night to rob her purse. And I got to make amends to my granny before she died, because I shared it with a sponsor, and he actually had said, you know, your granny's sick, and you're not on your 9th step, but you got a fucking job, and you can give her that money. And that was freeing. It was also freeing to hear my granny say, boy, I knew you were on drugs when nobody did. Nobody. It was freeing when my granny gave me that money back too. Said, I just want what's best for you, boy. And I wouldn't get stuff like that without this fellowship. I was thinking about how coming up through high school, man, I found me a new buddy, a new DOC. And boy, it didn't just make me feel good, it made everybody else feel good too. Not only did I feel like Jason again, but everybody wanted to be around Jason when I had my new good buddy. And I thought, this is it. This is it. All I got to do is figure out a way to keep some of this around. Then I can keep y'all around. And I can just be happy for the rest of my fucking life. This is bliss. I'm high. I got friends. I feel good about myself. Man, what's left? The man was left. School was left. Parents were left. Society was left. If everybody just leave me alone, if I could just live however I wanted, do whatever I want to go, whatever I want to do as much as I wanted, boy, wouldn't it be freeing? That's freedom, right? Ain't that what we want? We just want to be left alone, just to do it the way we want to do it. I'll never forget. Graduation day, I moved out and I was never going back again. That was freedom. That was freedom. I was going to get to live my life the way I wanted to. Have my buddies. If I had my buddy, I had y'all. Of course, y'all was using two back then. And the crazy thing is somewhere along the way, I discovered I was a damn addict. And that all of those things that meant freedom, do what I wanted to do, go where I wanted to go, be who I wanted to be, see who I wanted to see, all of those things started to be controlled by my new buddy. Instead of being free, found out I was a damn slave. And I was such a slave. You know, the dope controlled me in every aspect of my life, in my work, in all my relationships. I didn't find anybody unless, nothing came into my life unless it came by way of my buddy. And it was, man, even my folks didn't want to come around. And if they did, they had to come up with some master plan on how to approach me because I was so unapproachable. I was so unapproachable. I was in such denial. I was free. And the crazy thing is, it's like this convention's called Spirituality is the Key, right? Simple, spiritual, not religious program, known as what? Yeah, Narcotics Anonymous. That is the sweetest sound of freedom I've ever heard. When I hear Narcotics Anonymous, that's what I hear is freedom. We have a message, right? Our message is an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. Our message is hope and the promise of freedom. It's a promise of freedom. I thought I was fucking free when I was doing it my way, what my best thinking got me. All of those childhood dreams, all of the shit that was poured into me that I turned into my own story that I wanted to write myself. If you just turn me loose, boy, you just watch me go. Right down the toilet, just like a turd. Jails, institutions, spiritual death. When I got here, I was spiritually dead. All I knew how to do is run on self-will. That's it. I'm pretty sure all we know how to do when we get here is run on self-will. Why else would the first step require us to surrender? You know, the disease of addiction has whooped my ass, and I cannot do it alone. Cannot do it by myself anymore. I surrender. I quit. I give up. Right? You know, and then I had to come to believe that a power greater than me could restore me to sanity. I needed you guys. I needed NA. I needed never alone, never again. That's where my freedom was. Not in doing what I wanted to do, but doing it the NA way. That's the freedom. That's the promise. If I will do this the NA way, I will be free. It's the only promise we have. You know, I hear a lot about a sister fellowship. As far as I know, maybe it might have been a mother fellowship. Like we were born of the 12 steps. This fellowship stands on its own. And we only have one fucking promise. And it's the promise of freedom. The other fellowship's got 100 promises. We got one fucking promise. It's the promise of freedom. And it comes from actively participating in this fellowship. Service, self, society, and God are the base of this program. Right? We have freedom to have the God of our own understanding, but you need to get one, or else your sponsor and your group are going to be your higher power, and it sucks severely to have to get one of them motherfuckers on the phone every time you need to get through to somebody. Eventually, you're going to want to have you a higher power you call on when there ain't no cell service. My buddy John has got the best one. Named Leroy. He made him up, but by God, he works. One of the most spiritual guys I know, because he'll call on him. Now he relies on him. He don't just call on him now. He don't talk about him like he's over yonder and let me just tell you about my... No. It's a relationship. I know a lot of religious folks that don't have a relationship because they can't get righteous enough to have one. First thing we talk about in here is, hey, did you pray about it? I know you want to talk about it, but did you pray about it? What does that mean? Have you figured that out yet? It's in the base of our program. Self. We work on self. Right? Most of us don't have a problem with that because we've got a thinking disease. We're thinking all the damn time. Now, am I working on the problem or working on the solution? I know I'm thinking about it. When I'm of service to somebody else is the most beautiful thing I can do because they ain't got a damn thing to do about me. The only time service ever gets fucked up is when I get up in my head and think it does. When I think it's got one damn thing to do about me. Because it just don't. It's like somehow a beautiful thing happens when I help somebody else. I fucking find gratitude. The thing that eludes me. When we have a gratitude meeting, I'm like, fuck, not a gratitude meeting. I don't want to make up something I'm grateful for. I want it to well up inside me and come out of the top of my head. I want gratitude to be something that I feel in my spirit. But my spirit's broke when I got here. It was broken. Promise of freedom. Spiritual, not religious program. Do you have the desire to have an awakened spirit? Yes, right? 11th step. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact. Not unconscious. It's not a contact that I have with this spirituality that happens without my participation. It's a conscious contact with the God of my understanding, praying only knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry it out. And I do that to have what I came here for, is a fucking spiritual awakening, where I find out how to give unconditional love, where I find out how to practice tolerance, where I find out how to be of service. Impossible things when I got here. Impossible. The only thing I wanted was freedom from active addiction. That problem that eluded us so long. That's what the basic text says. Freedom from active addiction. We'll promise you that. What about all these other greater freedoms? Like Tony did say it. I got to be willing to work for those. I gotta be willing to work for those. And you know, somehow, I feel like y'all know what I'm talking about. Somehow I feel like y'all know them because we're here at this NA convention. And sometimes it just takes us like deciding that big busy life that we have out there and those 1 hours that we put into having our good home group meeting, you know, Dale, you know, and the time we spend to sit in our convention committee meetings or whatever the hell it is. We finally say, okay, I've got 2 days off from my job and from my life. I really just want to do nothing. But there's that NA convention. And I know what goes on over there. That's freedom. Y'all, they threw NA on the front of convention. Threw NA right there on the front of it. It's the freedom convention. Where I can learn how to be spiritual. Right? Where I can learn how to get outside of self-centered, fearful Jason and be free from active addiction. That's really what I want. I want to be free from active addiction. And I get that when I'm around you people. I get that when I'm around you people. Just like I thought I did in the beginning when it took my buddy for me to hang around y'all. Come to find out, y'all had the same problem I did. We got rid of our buddy, but we still got to hang out. It's the only way we feel normal. It's the only way I feel normal. Anyway, thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Jay.